6:02 p.m. Kathy, call the roll.
Commissioner Bernstein?
Here.
Commissioner Forrest Weisskopf is not present yet. Commissioner Grossberg?
She's not present because she will not be here this evening. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Darn.
Vice President Ruttenberg?
I'm here.
And President Kaplan.
All right, let's begin. Are there any additions to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll go right to Jeff Smith, Parks Operations.
Do you want to steal Amalia's thunder?
Can't follow Amalia.
You want to share the
No, I-
news
oh, yeah.
about Amalia?
Yes.
Baby?
Yes, she did.
Is the first on my agenda. Yes, so this Sunday,
A Cubs fan?
I'll find out. Promise so.
Hey, Dan,
Yeah, so we're happy to announce that
Before you
this
go.
Sunday morning,
I have something I'm missing on here.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Weston Diego Schwartz was born, so 6 pounds, 7 ounces. And so you
great.
will not see Amalia for the next few months. You will have the, I guess it's positive or negative, you can decide to see me each month.
Can you give her a message? Tell her to put a baseball in his left. It's a him, right?
Yes.
A baseball in his left hand.
I tried that with Adam. It didn't
Yeah.
work.
Let her know.
Much easier to get to the majors, right?
Or you could ask her to put a book in the child's hand so that the child can be educated and not just a jock.
I was going to say, book, baseball.
No, I'm just going to stay out of it.
Yeah. Everyone is happy and healthy.
I think I'm just up here to give you a brief overview of where we are in Pogo, so we're going to stick to that.
Okay, next.
All right. All right, so quite a bit has been done in the exterior of the building over the past month. This is the upper parking lot. We have the binding layer of asphalt has been poured there and also in the lower lot. There's another photo that completed. There's a final layer of asphalt that's going to be poured in the spring as well, and so we'll wrap that up. But for now, the lot is done for the season. And we've also completed, this is the concrete ramp going up to the upper lot. This is concrete being poured here. This has been finalized as well. Landscaping has gone in. Thanks to the parks crew, we've planted approximately 100 trees over just a few days. This is in the upper lot along the southern side and the western side of the property. Now, the landscaping isn't final. We are still working, especially on the western side, to finish this up, and that'll be completed in the spring. Now, with so much completed outside, crews have really transitioned to working on the interior of the building. This is what the lower level looks like currently. The flooring, we had a final layer of kind of the finish coat has been poured on both the upper and lower floors. So now they've begun the masonry walls. So this is the lower, here's the upper. And so the masonry walls are starting to go up that are going to actually create the rooms. This is also on the upper floor. And then the kind of moving forward, once these are completed, the carpenters will come in and start framing out the walls, and then electrical and plumbing throughout the building will get wrapped up. And then they will start doing drywalling in the offices. Some other things that are occurring right now is they are starting to put in the ductwork for the HVAC. They're going to put in a couple more skylights in the roof, and they're also doing some plumbing on the lower level. So that's a quick update on where we are in the building, and then here are the financials. Happy to say, just like we're still on schedule with the project, we're also remaining in budget. To date, we're at $2,819,129.64. And you'll see the line item with contingency over this past month. Some items in the contingency have included some work we've done in the upper lot for concrete stabilization. We also added some hand dryers in the building and done some updates to our exit signs in the offices.
I got one. We were having some issues with some of the neighbors.
The Canotex.
We've been in touch with them.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this Andy Canotek?
Andy, the father,
Yeah.
rode his
Dan
bike
Casey.
up and paid a visit, and then, was it Dan
Dan
Casey that called, or his wife?
It was,
The wife,
The-
I think.
the wife emailed and then she called.
Okay.
So we've heard from both homes. And we've been in touch with them, and they've expressed some concern about some of the landscaping. We've explained that it's still in progress and will be finalized in the spring. So what they're seeing now isn't the finished product.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Anything else?
Any surprises?
No.
Okay.
Any arrows?
I'm sorry?
Arrowheads.
No.
Any arrowheads?
No, that's Ryan's thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tried for you.
We'll find slugs.
God. All right,
Remember?
thank you.
Thanks.
What they end up doing with all the stuff they found there? Did they donate it to the Historical Society? Like the Moraine Hotel?
I thought you guys were going to do a display
We still have
in
the arrowhead, we'll frame it
Yeah.
and display it, and then the cart that they found.
That's
on
for
the golf course.
golf
But didn't they
course.
found like some Moraine Hotel?
We're going to
Yeah,
display
we're hanging
some
on
of
to
it
it.
at
Yeah.
the building.
Yeah.
And we have a cup and a saucer. It's not in the greatest condition. It's actually sitting in my office right now with the intention of making it to the Historical Society, but it hasn't made it there yet. So,
Thanks.
Thank you.
Grizzly Adams? Sunset Valley Clubhouse update?
Yes, thank you.
Jerry tells the jokes and gets the girls.
both Rob and Brian are conductors on the Polar Express, hence the facial hairs.
I'll keep the dark
bad
part
mustache.
for this Saturday. So,
Got it. Good luck for you.
And Mitch and Dan Voss were Santas, so there you go.
they stick together.
The tall, skinny Santas.
Joe Mercy's was Mrs. Claus. Okay.
That was Diane.
Okay.
Okay,
Brian.
so most of the work over the past, since the last time we met, has been behind the scenes with Woodhouse Tanucci, finalizing the construction documents, which they will be submitting building permit application to the city of Highland Park on December 14th. At that same time, we will receive an update on the final budget proposal for the construction of the building. Soon after that, WB Olson, our construction management team, will take those same documents that we submit to the city, and they will start separating by trade those different projects that will go to bid, and will go to bid in January. So WB Olson will administer that bid process, and then in early February we will receive the bids back, which will be opened and reviewed, and then they will be brought to the board at the February board meeting for approval, which will be at that time we will bring to the board a guaranteed maximum price for the project that will be administered by WB Olson. So right now we're just finalizing the construction documents so they can be sent to the city for the building permit. And that's where we're at.
Thank you.
And we will be bringing a contract for WB Olson in January, a construction management contract as they're finishing up pre-construction services now.
Does that give us enough time to get it completed by June or July?
Yes.
Yes, should be early mid-June is what they're hoping for. Yeah, that's the plan right now.
And then what about a landscape plan?
So there is a landscape plan that Rick Jacobson. Oh, well, for the clubhouse or for the course?
For the clubhouse in the parking lot area.
So there is a landscaping, but it's very minimal. I mean, there's only really landscaping in the front as you pull up
Wait a second.
currently.
You're removing a lot of the landscaping that's currently there. All that hardscape is being removed, and you have to be replacing it with something. And I've been under the impression that you're going to be coming to the board with a landscape plan for all that area around the clubhouse, not just the parking lot.
So there are trees. There are a few trees and shrubs in the plan that was already shown to the board that went for permit back a few months ago. But that's already been submitted to the city for approval around the clubhouse area, which is quite minimal though. It's because we're removing most of the trees.
We're keeping it open.
Yeah, keeping it open.
I'd like to see the plan if possible. I mean, I'm confused.
So am I.
So, I mean, I was on the impression that we were doing a landscape plan around the clubhouse and for the parking lot. And
Nothing for the parking lot.
Well, I'd like
the-
to know what
only
we're
the
doing. I
building,
mean, we
yeah.
should be doing something.
Any of those services would probably be in-house that we would do landscaping, but we can come back and,
I mean, right now, there's an extensive landscaping around there with islands, with stones, with knee walls and things like that. We're removing trees. I think that we should, since it's going to be a material difference between the existing condition versus what it's going to look like over the summer, I think that you should bring to the board, at least to the liaisons, what your plans are for the landscaping. We spent a lot of time on the actual clubhouse. We spent zero on the landscaping.
I think we all should look at the landscaping because
Yeah.
you pointed out the parking lot, for example. And again, I don't know if we're removing landscaping that's already in the parking lot, but
The original plan for the parking lot was only to seal coat the parking lot. There was no landscaping in the parking lot.
that's okay. But are we, in the process, have we removed trees and shrubs? This is what I don't know, and I think that's what,
Okay.
And also, there may be some opportunities in the parking lot in the area between the parking spaces on either side. There's a strip of dirt or something. You may be able to put, landscape something in there, just something to make it look nice. I know that one of the things we've talked about is the lighting, and I know that's up in the air. So I think that needs to come back also. I don't think we've really seen a lot of what the lighting plan is for the out.
You haven't because there was not one.
Okay.
We talked about that and recognized that the one light that I think there's one light there
one
now
pole.
that we're going to need to adjust that.
No, but I'm saying but also around the clubhouse, I would like to see if there's any, intending to do any lighting around the clubhouse.
We saw that.
Exterior lighting.
Yeah, that's in there.
I saw the lighting that was attached to the clubhouse, but not necessarily is there any other exterior lighting besides in the
Didn't we-
clubhouse?
Yeah.
Aren't there-
Bollards, I think,
Yeah,
Yeah.
some bollards.
Oh, there
It's
are?
in the-
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think
We'll
The drawing.
We'll
I'd like
come
to see
back
it,
with
and-
we'll come back to begin with what was originally called out, and then we can talk about enhancements.
yeah.
Time-wise, we're fine.
Do we have plans for an electric car charging station?
Yes, we do.
That's
Great.
all. That's in the works.
Well, you guys know about it, but the rest of us are going to ask.
Well, I don't really know much about it, but
So I
We
think
Once
will
we looked
have
at it.
I think it
I
would
think
be-
a two-car charging station
it
right
would be
now.
very good if we could all see it.
yeah. Okay, great.
all right.
So,
Thank you.
Any other questions?
thanks.
Do you want to stay and do Highland Park Country Club banquet and operations update now?
If you'd like me to. Here's my notes.
Not too fishy.
All right.
So obviously, we are looking to find a banquet provider for all the 2018 banquets at the Highland Park Country Club for 2018 and potentially 2019. So Kathy Donahue, Annette Curtis, Mitch Carr, and myself actually interviewed two banquet vendors who submitted proposals to us for 2018 and 2019 options. The two proposals were actually quite different, so I'll give you a summary of those two options and let you know what was involved with those. And then our plan would be to come back, make a recommendation at the December meeting so that they can have a smooth transition as we roll into January. So the two companies were Cater by Design, and the other one was called Cater Cult. So Cater by Design currently provides exclusive banquet services at the Glenview Park District's Lakeview Banquet Rooms, also Wagner Farms, which is in Glenview, and the Winnetka Community House. In addition, they are preferred banquet providers in more than 60 venues across the North Shore and in downtown Chicago. They've been providing banquet services for nearly 30 years, and they basically do the full gamut: food and beverage, all event services, china, glassware, linens, and much more. What is unique about Cater by Design is that their proposal involves food and beverage only. So they would not use our kitchen to cook. They would prepare all their food off-site, and they would basically only be in the building 2 hours prior to a banquet and then 2 hours after a banquet to clean up. The kitchen would only be used for warming, and Cater by Design would account for all purchasing and expenditures for food and beverage, meaning the Park District will not incur any expenditures related to banquets, any food and beverage expenses. The only expenses that we would incur would be our Operating building expenses such as the heating, air conditioning, electric, any preventative maintenance or repairs or things of that nature. Cater by Design would be responsible for all the bookings for food and beverage. They would hold and manage all the contracts. However, anything that's not food and beverage related would still be the Park District of Highland Park. So we would run those rentals and receive the revenue for those rentals.
I'm confused.
Yeah,
Okay.
what kind of rentals would,
Meeting rental, or any type of meeting.
Birthday party, anything else that's
that's,
not a larger banquet.
Okay, so it's-
If there's a party that is going to be held in there, they want to be the preferred caterer for it. But we have the opportunity to have additional revenue by renting out when it's not booked by them.
so would we be booking ourselves for activities where food and or drink was not being served?
Correct. So if somebody called and said, I'm just looking, well, for example,
League of Women Voters,
Sure.
yeah.
okay, they have their forum and maybe they have a table of cookies.
Yeah, especially cookies and water and.
All right, that would be us. But if
Yes.
they wanted to have table set or buffet set with chopsteak, that would be the banquet
Yes.
provider.
They are not equipped to come in and set up tables for just a rental. They are
Okay.
food and beverage, and that is what their business is. So they are not
So if someone signs a catering contract, they'll come in. If there's no catering contract, they won't.
They will not.
And do we have the ability to run a rental facility if there's no food? For example, there's still setup, there's still chairs, tables, organization, make sure that, that the heat is on, the air conditioning's on. Do we have the,
Better be on.
do we have the, no, but I'm saying, certain temperatures, do we have the ability to do that?
So with this proposal, we will have to. So we will, we obviously just received these proposals last week, so that's what we're discussing right now, is how will we manage those. If we were to choose this vendor, we would have to have a plan before going into agreement with them on how we would manage that. So
And
we
how
have
would it-
discussed it, and
I'm sorry, Brian.
that's okay. Go ahead.
No, finish.
I was just saying we have discussed
Apologize.
different options for how we would manage that with current staff, or if we needed to have some new staff, part-time or whatnot on board. But we're currently discussing how we would manage that.
So is that, you're going to bring that to the board in the next board meeting with a recommendation? And also,
What is this other one?
with, if you decide to go with this one, also with the plan and how to implement it. Got it.
Yeah, but
I
let's
still-
remember that 19 is still an up in the air issue.
Yeah.
So I could
if-
finish. I have a couple more bullet points, and then I could take questions on this. Or you can keep going.
Well,
I might
Give us
answer
the overview
some.
of both of them, I think.
Okay.
So we could do it.
It's the 19.
I know.
So the only downside really to there's the major downside of their proposal is that Cater by Design's operating expenses, which would be their payroll, what they pay their staff, their food and beverage costs are much higher than what Kemper's are. In reviewing contracts that Kemper put together for 2018, Kemper charged much lower pricing for food and beverage, and they've also extended many free add-ons and discounts to groups such as complimentary linens, free table wine, free golf passes, and other perks that make a profit very unrealistic. So what that means is Cater by Design is going to ask for subsidy from the Park District. So there's no management fee or anything like that. But in comparing their pricing, their costs, and what reviewing the contracts that we gave them from Kemper, they're going to be asking. They've asked us for subsidy per event to cover what their losses would be. On the bright side, for all future bookings for both 2018 and 19, they would be structured much differently. We would receive a flat rental fee for the building, and the food and beverage, we would receive anywhere from 12 to 15% of their food and beverage fee to the customer. So we'd get, like, say maybe if there was a rental on a Saturday night, we'd get $2,500 for the room, go straight to us, and then whatever their food and beverage bill was, we would get a percentage, 12 to
For
15%.
19. No, it's
For
just
anything booked that's not booked now in 18
got it.
and 19. So if someone books something in the fall
They'll
or
get a realistic price.
yeah,
Which will be different than the price that somebody who booked now.
they will
get.
trash that menu and they will use their menu.
So what
Well, let's hear the other proposal.
For Kemper, what percentage were they charging below market?
Cal, what Liza told us today was it's gonna cost us about 100, 120 to subsidize it.
And I have been told that he's going back and reviewing all of the contracts and trying to fine tune what that number will be. That, we talked about it this afternoon.
Yeah, his initial, when we met with him, was 97,000, but he did not have all of the contracts and the information as far as what, what they throw in. And so we now, he has that in his hands. He's going to rework everything, and he'll come back to us
And we have
more
to
accurate information.
obviously have a transparent process and understand his accounting or what his costs are so that we understand that that subsidy is fair. But there is, of course, on the pro side, the ability for us to get more bookings, to have the rental bookings, and also our operating costs are going to be much lower because we're only using the building when there's an event versus right now, Kemper has their offices in there, the kitchen is used full-time, our electric bills should be lower. Obviously, to heat and air condition the building, if we need to, we won't need to have all those mechanicals on when we're not using the building.
What did our contract with Kemper say? Did they have to, did they have any obligation to use sound business decisions when they?
Let's hold off Kemper.
Wait, no, I'm serious. No, I don't want to hold off.
I'm not,
I don't want to hold off. I'm
wanted to say-
I'm at a point right now that what you're saying is you want the Park District to subsidize someone's bar mitzvah and wedding parties? Is that
We
what I'm
are
hearing?
now, and we have been
So what I
for
will
the last
also
5
say,
years.
probably one of the most,
That makes me angry.
But that's what. But this is the whole collective loss. I think
let's
it's.
wait for closed.
Oh,
That's
no.
all I'm saying.
Okay.
Is there a second proposal?
I'm sorry.
there is, I'm not sure it'll make you any happier.
This is Brian's decision to do this now. Keep that in mind.
Yeah,
I want
Brian.
to shoot the messenger. I'm not trying to shoot the messenger, but I'm in shock. Okay.
Okay.
Thought I'd make it easier for Brian.
Yeah, you did.
The
I
second
didn't know what he was gonna
proposal
say.
was from a company called Cater Cult. Now, while Cater Cult owners have more than 25 years' experience in the hospitality and catering industry, they are brand new to the banquet business. So they basically don't have any experience in the banquet business. The owners consist of a business executive who led and administered catering side of numerous fast food franchises such as Jimmy John's and Roadie, and the other owner is an experienced chef who was the executive chef and original member of the Levy organization and previous owner of a large-scale catering company called Irie Catering. So their proposal was to operate the building very similar to Kemper in that they would occupy the building, all the offices, and run all their administrative services and cooking operations out of the building and use the kitchen as well for all their cooking needs. They also submitted proposals for the country club to increase revenues by providing off-premise catering, so they would use the kitchen to receive other revenue that would be shared for off-premise, off-site catering, so they would, different venues in the North Shore, and they also had a vision for a all-season food and beverage service in the cafe. Cater Cult did have a lot of passion and vision, but a few major downsides was that they have no experience in banquet services, and their proposal requires the district to continue to manage all of the accounting, meaning all the revenues and expenses would run out of our accounting system. We would purchase the food and beverage, we would pay the payrolls, and they would manage it for a management fee, exactly like Kemper. They have a much better pro forma than Kemper would have given us, but again, there's a lot of risk because of their lack of experience, and the fact that they really don't know the facility operations since they haven't operated out of there. So they're making a lot of assumptions that they're not sure about. Those are the two proposals. We're obviously at this point pursuing the Cater by Design first, as his experience would for sure ensure that the clients receive a quality banquet service, and he's very reputable. He works with other park districts, and he provided a very organized proposal. But 2018, obviously, we will, it's going to be a transition year. But yes, I'll take questions.
Okay. How many banquets are booked are locked-in bookings for 2018?
I don't have the exact
Just
number in front of me,
approximate.
but 25.
25, so that there is a good set of open dates for
Oh, yeah,
Catering by Design to pull in other banquets.
sure. I mean, obviously, you're going to lose. You're not going to get many for the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Dicey on the second quarter, just because people usually book 6 months in advance, at least.
Those
90
events, we
days in
would
advance.
receive a rental. Any new events, we would receive a percentage of the food and beverage and then a flat rental.
Which I think is a good plan. But I guess my question is, help me, if somebody signs a contract and they say, then they have their contract signed already, is it, I'll pay you $25 per person and I'll have a minimum of 50 people. And shouldn't that be the springboard that would have been used to gauge that should have cost $75? So I am a little bit confused on how the pricing went.
They have their standard pricing, and at the end of the contract, Kemper put in notes saying $5 discount per person, or includes complimentary,
Free linens.
Yeah, free linens
Things that you would
and
normally charge for.
different things. And the country club, one of the major differences, I guess I'll say, is probably their payroll. They're paying, I think, banquet servers probably close to minimum wage, which the industry is not paying that for banquet servers. So the payroll is much higher with most of these other vendors that we would deal with. That's one of the comments.
Right,
and
where
one of the
Kemper
things
would
that
pay
we
maybe
saw.
$10 an hour. Catering by Design, he pays the staff $15.
More closer to 20.
Oh,
20,
okay.
yeah.
We can all sign up.
May I ask a question? Who's the owner of Catering by Design?
S-
Steve Glazer?
Sam Gray is his name.
Sam what?
Gray?
Okay, because that sounds like the old Michaels. Probably bought it. And did he do the catering
No.
at Independence Grove?
No, no. Actually, no, I have a list of all the places he's done catering at, but I don't believe.
I don't think it's the
Brian,
same guy.
Brian,
Doesn't
Yeah.
sound like it, but same
Sorry.
Email, we'll get it to Mrs. Burns.
Okay, thank you.
And the other thing you have to talk about is garbage.
Yes.
Who's responsible for garbage? Good
Do
point.
they haul it away? Do you have the responsibility of getting rid of it? And that is an additional cost to you. But if they haul it away, it's.
Whose responsibility are those dumpsters out there right now?
What's the what?
There's dumpsters out there right now.
It's shared, right, Mitch, between
Yeah.
Kemper and Park District?
It costs you money. It's ours.
So it's ours.
Oh,
If
yeah,
it's
yeah,
Kemper
it's
and
ours,
ours, it's
yeah.
ours. Okay.
We should move.
Yeah, any building expenses such as that would not be incurred. By then, that would be part of
What's
what
next?
they normally would pay us for the rental fee of the room.
All right.
Let's go to the
Perfect.
budget.
Annette, you ready for an hour and a half?
You guys gonna be nice?
No.
I'm in a real good mood right now.
Should I just go?
Yes, except I have a comment that I'd like to share. Annette was on the Polar Express,
I was on the Polar Express.
and she wasn't in costume.
I was not in
You got to
costume.
You were not one of the elves.
I was not
You
an
have
elf.
to remind me,
Her
Kathy.
husband was, though.
I was
You got to
a
remind me.
character handler. Is that the right term to use? I was a character handler for that Santa.
You mean pushing the kids away as they were grabbing Santa?
Yeah,
Hmm.
because I'm going to use Mariana's term. What was her term? Valen told him that he needed to participate in this.
Brian, can I make a quick comment on the last item?
Sure.
There are small caterers in town that might be interested in any business between no food and a significant food and beverage operation. So there's a number of people, independents, who put together banquets and small events, that would, without any doubt, be readily available, including my neighbor across the street who's a sous chef at Charlie Trotters. So that kind of stuff is available. And two, when you're thinking about this stuff, I think that you need to look at the cafe as being, let's assume that the senior center ends up there. God knows what's actually going to happen with any of this stuff. But if you assume that for a minute, you could end up with a cafe that could service the senior center, could service the rec center, in other words, have like energy drinks, smoothies, and all that stuff, and service the public and service people who are using the walking trails.
Okay.
So that is a facility that if you structure, I mean, I just saw it last couple months ago, so I actually went down and looked at all this stuff. And that is a facility that I see as incredibly underutilized because it's really just thought of as like part of the ocean. So if you think of that as a facility that's utilized by all the different potential constituencies, I think that you could have a pretty nice little business there.
All right. Let's go to the budget now that we have more revenue sources.
I'm in the food service business, so I think about these things.
What do you want to do first?
I'm in the food consumption business.
What do you want to do first?
Which, budget.
All right.
Let's go through budget.
Let's go through budget.
Okay. So, at the beginning of the budget process, staff was challenged to think differently and operate differently as the district continues to use Greenprint and the strategic plan as its guiding documents. Results of this challenge are evident in the overall operational numbers. So tonight we will discuss a range of topics, providing you with a comprehensive look at the operations for 2018. So going to some just budget highlights. As in prior years, and due to a planned use of capital reserves, the budget reflects a deficit balance. Accumulated reserves in the capital fund are being used for replacement capital projects, Pogo, Sunset Valley, and the Highland Park Country Club course conversion. It is not a reflection of overall operations. 2018 budget is based on full staffing. 2017 started with a few open positions, a few became open, and not all were filled, which presented an opportunity to shift management teams, creating efficiencies in staffing and purchasing of supplies. Transfers to capital from operations to support replacement capital total $950,000. Special recreation $600,000 transfer supports ADA compliance and related to new buildings and also the ADA transition plan. So how our revenue is distributed, with most park districts, property tax revenue as a percent of overall revenue is greater than 50%. In 2018's operational revenue is 50%. For budget years 2016 and 17, operational revenue was 46 and 47% respectively. So changes in the golf operation at Sunset and Highland Park Country Club have decreased operational revenue for 18, while accessing the debt extension base to support bond payments has increased tax revenue, resulting in the ratio creeping up over 50%. Looking forward to 2019, the ratio will decrease as golf operations return to Sunset Valley. So a brief summary. Careful planning by staff, focusing on revenue generation, helps to offset the decreases due to the Highland Park Country Club. The combined result, operational revenue is decreasing by 6%, and expenditures are decreasing by 10% as compared to projected year-end. Following the funding model, there will be no bond issuance during 2018. Capital expenditures are almost an even split between large projects such as Pogo and Sunset Valley at $4.1 million, and then replacement capital at $4.8 million. The bottom line, a planned deficit of $7.25 million. So just a quick review on the tax levy. For 2016's levy, which has been collected throughout the year, the EAV increased for the second year in a row. However, it was still lower than the 2009 high of $2.9 billion. The final extension, or the amount to be received, is calculated by Lake County at $10.9 million for operations. The debt service extension is 1.4, based on the bond ordinances filed with Lake County when the bonds were issued. Our tax rate for this year was 0.529%. And historically, our collections rate has been at 99%, and so we should see total collections of about $12.2 million. And we've really received everything as of, I think, December 15th is our last scheduled payment. So moving on to the levy for 2017, which will be collected in 18. The ordinance for 2017's tax year, which will be collected during 18, will be presented for approval at December's board meeting, so next Thursday. No changes have been made. The requested levy amount is the same as the truth in taxation, which was approved in November. So the total levy requested for operations is $11,431,707. The debt service is $1.5 million. And 2017's levy request was calculated to capture the CPI increase, which reflects a cost of living adjustment and new growth, properties that were coming onto the tax rolls for the first time. With an allowable CPI increase of 2.1%, levy for operations is 4.9%, or $535,000 higher than the previous extension. And just to note, this is the first time in 5 years that the CPI was greater than 2%. Health insurance, property casualty, and the workers' comp are all presented as one line item in the budget document. Insurance totals 7% of all budgeted expenditures, and there's an overall increase of 9% as compared to projected 2017. The district purchases health insurance through the Park District Risk Management Association, or PDERMA, using a pooled approach, keeping insurance costs under control while providing adequate coverages for employees. That has been PDERMA's approach. PDERMA's 2018 health insurance rate is increasing by only 4%, coming off a 0% increase in 2017. This is quite low. The employee contribution, rate remains at 12%. Increases and decreases in property and casualty insurance premiums are a direct result of increases or decreases in our expenditures. This is based on a 2-year cycle. So 2016's expenditures, which were lower than 15, were used to calculate 2018's premiums. It's a revolving cycle. So there will be a decrease in 2.3% for 2018. Now 2019's premiums are anticipated to increase, as they'll be based on 2017's expenditures. IMRF. The pension line in the booklet presents both IMRF and FICA together. Just for a point of reference, the average member contribution rate is 11%. During 2013, when steps were taken to address the pension liability, our contribution rate was at 14%. So 2018's contribution rate is 4.84%, still much, much lower than 2013. And over the years, the district has seen a savings roughly about $2 million, a little over that. All pension obligations have been met and nothing has been deferred. As of December 31st, 2016, the most recent actuarial valuation date, the district's plan was 114% funded, that is overfunded, and was accounted for on the financials as a net pension asset. So we're actually overfunded, which is a really nice place to be. So the fund balance. To summarize and simplify the fund balance policy, budgeted fund balance must be 25% greater than the budgeted expenditures for the general, the recreation, and the special recreation funds. For 2018, the operating funds comply with this policy. This slide is presented in thousands and focuses on operations. So capital, debt, and transfer information, those numbers are not included. As mentioned earlier, even with staff's initiatives, moving away from the Highland Park Country Club's operation is having a large impact. Both revenue and expenditures decreases compared to 2017 projected year end, even though there is a deficit. So even though that there's a deficit, like I said earlier, we have this planned deficit, our 2018 operational net is $4.3 million. Of that, 3.1 will be transferred to support debt certificates and capital. The rest will remain in the appropriate fund to support those fund balances. So operations is really doing quite well. The administration function. The administration function includes the general fund, but without the parks information. It also includes the special rec fund, the capital fund, and the debt service funds. Tax revenue is decreasing as monies have been allocated to the recreation fund. During 2017, an unbudgeted item, $400,000 of odd-las monies were received and accounted for as miscellaneous income. With the completion of numerous capital projects, professional fees accounted for in contractual services is just decreasing, contributing to the 49% reduction. And there's one really large increase on there, that 258% increase in the maintenance and landscaping, and that is really related just to one item. Every 5 years, we do district-wide sprinkler testing, and that is reflected in that 258% increase. So for the parks function, generated from dog park passes and picnic permits, park revenue totals $42,000, or a 6% increase over projected. Expenditures total $2.8 million. Understaffed during 2017, 2018 is budgeted for a full staff. So diving into a little more detail with recreation, staff prepares the budget with the revenue policy as a guide. Per the policy, program areas such strive to retain 30% of the revenue over direct expenditures. And direct expenditures are defined as the payroll directly related to that program, the FICA, the IMRF, program supplies, and any independent contractor fees. Not every individual program meets that benchmark. However, in 2018, cumulative programs are budgeted to reach 46%, camps 43%, and lessons 54%. So in our programming area, we are definitely fulfilling that revenue policy and exceeding it, actually. So the programs, the first one on here, the net surplus of $1.3 million is budgeted slightly higher than the 2017 projected year end, with a 5% increase, continuing a modest growth pace in the face of changing trends such as football shift from tackle to flag football. Summer camp continues to be a revenue generating center, but not to be taken for granted. Staff continues to introduce new ideas to the curriculum to provide campers a fresh experience. The net surplus should increase by about 15% in 2018. Operating Deer Creek year-round provides the opportunity for expanded lessons, plus restructuring aquatics to focus on indoor swim lessons has resulted in a budget increase of 18% as projected, as compared to projected 2017. So items not related to programming but are accounted for in the recreation fund are reported as other revenues in the financial statements. Tax levy dollars have been allocated to the recreation fund to support operation and future capital. Moving away from operating the country club course has resulted in decreases in rentals, merchandising, and miscellaneous income, while memberships at the rec center in Deer Creek continue to grow. Other income, the other income line there, the last one, appears to have a large increase. With the foundation up and running, the Park District accounting for events such as the Champions Banquet and the Firecracker Race have changed slightly. The Park District will be reimbursed for expenditures incurred on behalf of the foundation, The reimbursement is accounted for in other income. So the overall cost will be a net zero to us, but it's just a matter of accounting, that increase. Without the Highland Park Country Club, golf, the operations, contractual service, maintenance supplies, materials and supplies, the landscaping, cost of goods sold, they're all decreasing. So it's definitely having a large effect on our recreation fund. Sunset Valley, renovations that began in 2017 to the course and clubhouse will continue into 2018. Maintenance of the new turf and a second growing season to ensure the root structures have taken hold are truly the main priority. The clubhouse renovation focuses on a new look and layout, creating opportunities for outings, rentals, and programming. Both capital projects are within budget and on time. Tentatively, an August opening is scheduled. With a full year of maintenance expenditures offset with only 4 months of revenue, there is an operational deficit of $486,000. Looking towards 2019, Sunset Valley should be operating in the black. A business model is being finalized. Depending on which plan is chosen, revenues are projected to range from $1.4 to $1.5 million and projected expenditures at about 1.3. The Highland Park Country Club, as we were just discussing, staff will continue to operate the Learning Center, which includes the driving range and mini golf and the banquet facility. For the Learning Center, operational decisions between the City of Highland Park and the Park District are being finalized. These decisions will guide the allocation between departments of revenues and expenditures for 2018 and 19. Banquet operations will continue to be outsourced with a budgeted management fee of $100,000. Maintenance for the building and utilities continues to be the Park District's responsibility and is budgeted at about $178,000. 2018 has a budgeted loss of $267,000. In previous years, the net deficit of the entire operation, the Learning Center, golf, everything together, ranged from 277 till about 369, which is what we're looking at for the end of this year. Moving on to capital. 2018 will see the completion of Pogo and Sunset Valley. Looking forward, staff will begin planning for Centennial Ice Arena, the lobby renovation, and then conversion of the Highland Park Country Club course and lakefront master planning. These plans with the land management master plan, which should be completed in 2018, and Greenprint provide direction for future development. During 2017, the planning department revived the approach of project identification, working with facility managers, assessing the needs, tracking replacement schedules, and looking for insight from community focus groups. Creating a comprehensive 5-year replacement plan, which was reviewed at the October workshop and then was presented and reviewed by the Board of Commissioners. Since that meeting, a few additions have been added. Monies for facility access control, golf carts, and ravine repairs at Rosewood. So looking at some numbers, reopening Sunset Valley will be the second Track 1 project completed. Completed in 2017, the Recreation Center fitness renovation was the first. Purchasing the Highland Park course and planning the conversion to a conservation-based naturalized area is a Track 2 project, which begins in 2018 with planning scheduled to begin in 2019. Budgeted expenditures to complete Pogo and Sunset Valley total $3.4 million. Purchasing the course is budgeted at $500,000, and then maintenance and planning for the course at $220,000. The result of planning's approach, the 2018 replacement capital budget totals $4.8 million. Over the course of the year, district-wide expenditures such as planning, tree removal, replacement, sign replacement, and stormwater management will total about $297,000. IT will be working on the implementation of a new payroll system and then access controls, and that in addition to normal maintenance equipment, total about $204,000. Park maintenance, which includes a new playground at Kennedy and ravine restoration, and then, of course, all those general court repairs total about $2.6 million. And facility maintenance, just district-wide facilities, total $1.6 million. So just to review our debt certificates, currently the district has 2 outstanding debt certificates, 2012A, which matures in 2023, and 2013, which matures in 2027. These certificates are fully supported by operation and yearly principal and interest payments for both total $1.5 million. And then the bonds, working with a just-in-time approach that is only issuing bonds when needed to support Greenprint. The district has 2 outstanding bond issuances, 2016, which matures in 2020, and then 2017, which matures in 2028. Yearly principal and interest payments for both total about $1.5 million. 2018's budget does not include a new issuance. Both ICE's lobby renovation and the courses conversion are identified in Greenprint, and future bonding might be needed to support these projects. But when we get to that point, we will reevaluate. So coming to the end of the presentation, I'd just like to note that per the Park District Code, the governing body of each park district shall, within or before the first quarter of each fiscal year, adopt a combined annual budget and appropriation ordinance. Following the timeline for the 2018 budget, adoption of the budget will occur at January's board meeting. Until that time, the budget will remain open for public review on the website, at Westridge, at the rec center, and also at the library. So having the budget approved in January is well within the deadlines established by code, and this is going to provide the opportunity for the community to review the budget. So a big thank you to staff for all their help and hard work in putting this together. As always, staff is working hard to keep project costs within budget, creative programming focused on revenue generation and operational efficiencies, providing a quality-driven park district for the residents.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Terry?
Well, my first comment is, thank God we have an accountant person to help us. I mean, honestly, I can't even imagine it. It's
And I
just
have
like-
to say thank you to my staff for backing me up, because without them,
Yeah.
yes, this
And
is
I-
a daunting
and-
task.
And the second thing I want to say about that was that when you met with myself and with others and with the finance team, it helped really clarify. I got to ask questions and I got to really saturate myself in it. So I want to thank you for giving me that opportunity. It really opened my eyes as to what all goes into it, and also to see the rationale that's behind why we do what we do. So I really appreciate that. I just had a couple questions, Brian, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
You mentioned the Sunset Valley business plan, different options. When would those be proposed?
They have been, so when Rob began tackling the budgeting for 18, he also was looking into 19 and I think even into 20. So he's designed different models, different pricing structures, things like that. And since 19 is still out there, we haven't finalized it yet. So I think as we begin bringing, so I'm going to use Cal's words, as we bring Sunset Valley back online in 18, we will.
Nothing to do with computers.
It's nothing to do with computers. We'll start finalizing that model once we get a sense of what, a little better sense of what the operation looks like.
They're still working on trying to create what the balance with the rates are going to be, the outings, how the,
Yeah,
and how that's, so
yeah.
that's still being, because that is really not going to be able to, 2018 is not going to be really
only
a good
4 months.
example of how it's going to operate on an annual basis. So that's a work in progress.
So you're going to use the experience of 2018 to inform your 2019?
Well,
Is
I
that-
think more 2018, I think there's going to be a lot of outings. So I think it's really,
I think-
2019 is going to be the experiment and see how
Hopefully-
going forward we'll
Yeah,
adjust it going
hopefully in
forward.
2018, they'll get some outings and things on the books for 19.
Yeah.
So they'll, because those things need to be booked ahead of time as well. So hopefully we'll have some indication of what that's going to look like.
And another big component, and we've had conversations with the golf committee in terms of finding the balance, is if you offer memberships versus daily fees versus some kind of a punch card system, depending on how you structure your pricing can really dictate the total amount of revenue. So we're working on finding what that balance is.
That's a work in progress.
And that is a work in progress, because we will not have memberships in 2018 because we're operating on a very small season.
Completely not related to Sunset Valley. There was something about a land management plan that's separate from Greenprint you mentioned.
Well, it was an initiative, or part of Greenprint was to study our land, and if I remember, I have to defer to Jeff because this is really falling into his area. So it was in Greenprint, it was an initiative in Greenprint to look to how we're utilizing our lands, what we can be doing with them, and I know that they've been working on it, so maybe you want to expand on that?
This is the initiative that Amalia was leading, and we have wrapping up the draft. Once she returns, we're going to be finalizing that and then presenting it to the board in early 2018. So yeah, it addresses different areas, park operations, land acquisition, lakefront, and then what it's going to do is better manage that moving forward. We expect to use
Fabulous. And my last question was just about the Highland Park Country Club conversion. It mentioned 220,000, and I'm sure that we've talked about this. I knew there was a 150,000 number about, a yearly budget towards conversion. Is that other 70,000, is that just?
It's planning, isn't it?
Okay,
No,
I just want.
the other 70 is just in case.
Oh.
So you're right, the 220 number is larger than what was in the plan that Rebecca had put together. But I like a conservative budget, and because this is an unknown, truly an unknown for the Park District and of the scale of this project and what we're doing, we just put a few extra dollars there in case.
It's a budget.
It's a budget.
Got it.
Yeah, it's not rock solid,
Yeah.
and hopefully the numbers won't ever be needed, but if they are needed or if some of them need it, it has been allocated and addressed.
Thank you.
Just quickly, I mean, we spent a lot of time on the budget at the Finance Committee, so I appreciate my fellow commissioners' time, who met either with the Finance Committee or on their own with Annette. I appreciate your time on this. I also appreciate staffs taking their time to go over this. I was listening to the presentation tonight, and this is the second time I've heard the presentation, but the couple things come to mind. Number one, I wrote down the word robust. This is like a robust budget. This is a budget where we're actually doing a lot of things, and it's very impressive. And I think both from a staff perspective, but also as a board perspective, we should be proud of what we're doing here. Because when I look at the things here, and I think back, and I joke that I came on the board 10 years ago to reform the travel baseball program, and look what we've done. We have.
We haven't reformed it.
I know we haven't done that, but we have our pensions. Obviously that's still a work in progress. But we can look at this.
But we're trying.
Okay, but you look at you heard what we heard tonight is that our pension obligations are fully funded. They're overfunded, so we have a handle on our pension obligations, which a lot of our sister governments are struggling with. Our health insurance costs is under control. Our ratio, even though we slightly ticked up this year, but just as a result of an anomaly of the fact that we have one of our major revenue streams, a golf course, offline. So as listening to the, in 2 years, when that is fully operational and humming along, our ratios will get ticked down again, and then we'll be below that 50% as we've been trending to, which is an accomplishment both from staff and really for the staff, because they're the ones who are keeping the expenses down and trying to maximize revenue. And the fact of the matter is, we have this planned deficit, but that was, that's as a result of good planning, that we have the money available to spend on these capital improvements that are both in and outside Greenprint. So this is a budget that we should all be proud of, and I want to thank staff because you do all the work, we get the glory sometimes, really rarely, but you do all the work and hard work, and I really appreciate it,
You do.
and this is something that we should all be proud of, this budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I agree with you once.
Yes.
I actually agree with you. Annette, do you want to stay and talk about the IPRA conference attendance?
Can I change that order?
You're the
No,
boss.
only Brian
And you can do whatever you want.
Levy ordinance, just to say that so I
Yes.
could knock this one off, okay. So I'm not gonna repeat everything, because we just talked about it in the budget, but the levy, truth and taxation was approved in November, so just following our procedures, the levy ordinance was there for your review. It will be, submitted for approval at Thursday's board meeting, so next week, Thursday, and then it will be filed with the county prior to the last Tuesday of the month. Okay?
Okay.
Well, that's all I need to say on that. Numbers have not changed.
IPRA conference.
Okay,
IPRA.
IPRA conference. So, last year at this time, we approved ordinance 1606 based on the Local Government Travel Expense Control Act. That was what, 990604. At any rate, so a year later now, what this act does, it gives structure to travel expenditures for employees as well as for commissioners. And for commissioners, regardless of the amount of the expense, it has to be approved at a board meeting. So
That'll be on the consent agenda at the next meeting, or?
actually, it has to be a roll call vote.
Oh, it does.
It does, I'm sorry,
Aye.
yeah, it is the protocol, it has to be a roll call vote, and so I believe, so when I wrote this memo, I was not sure on the intent of the commissioners, if they were attending the conference or not, and because there are specific conference sessions designed for commissioners, it is of value for commissioners to attend this conference. So that is my plug for the IPRA conference. It's my little commercial. But it really is a value for the commissioners to attend because there are,
Terry's
there
done.
are,
Terry's done.
The Cubs will be there, right?
It's not that convention.
That's right.
so I believe, unless this is changing, that President Kaplan and Commissioner Laurie will be representing the Park District on Friday only at the conference.
And Terry may be able to join us.
And Terry may be. Okay, so we will update
I'll
this
join you for
for,
No. It's all or nothing.
we'll update this for Thursday's meeting, and yes, it'll have to be a roll call vote. And I believe it's like $285 a person to attend, but that doesn't seem right to me.
It is,
For just the Friday only?
for
Okay.
Friday only.
But,
It's the lunch ticket, because there's the
The lunch
awards,
ticket is
the
60.
legislative awards
okay.
luncheon.
So to be
gets to go to
in
lunch.
compliance with our ordinance, it's just a matter of doing a roll call vote and writing up the memo. And I still think it is worth every penny especially for a new commissioner to attend, simply because there are workshops specifically designed for commissioners to help educate you on your role in the Park District.
Sign them up.
Okay?
Excellent
Who's the guest
commercial.
at lunch this year?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, review of vouchers.
Okay, I'm done.
Skip one. Oh, you do it well, and that's here, I see. Okay.
I might not come back to you now. Review of vouchers, please.
Okay, bills presented for the board's review on December 5th. Our checks written from November 9th through November 30th. They total $1,512,988.04. And I have to say, some of the expenditures we are seeing are prepaids for things that we will be expensed in 2018.
Like the golf show.
Like the conference? Like, no, I don't think we've paid for that.
Yeah, I'm
No,
gonna vote
I'm
for
thinking
golf
of some
show.
of the basketball tournaments and things that I have seen, some of those kind of prepaid expenses, so. But they were all ordinary budgeted expenditures, nothing is an extraordinary item.
Going back to the budget, where's it going to be on our website? Is it going to be on the the main page, or how's that?
Usually we just put it in the finance section.
Well, I think you should have a link on the main page while it's laid down for the next 30 days at least.
We'll do. We'll have it up and running tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll come back to Ms. McElroy. Review of Employee Ambassador Program Policy.
Okay. So, one of the tasks that's been on the staff's list for 2017 has been the review of not only the Park District's overall operational, but also the Park District Personnel Policy Manual. And this is tracking because we are an accredited agency with the state of Illinois. There's our distinguished agency plaque up there. And as part of best practices, review of these policy and procedural manuals every 5 to 7 years is one of the requirements. And so as we literally have been meeting Tuesdays almost throughout, it seems like throughout the whole year, going through every single page of policy, operational policy manual and personnel policy manual. And we came upon in the personnel policy manual the benefits section for the employees of the Park District, and in the past, a benefit for and I'm speaking right now to full-time employees for working for the Park District, is that we allow employees to participate in our programs where we are not displacing residents of Highland Park, or if there is a program that is provided by an outside contractor that employees are paying the fee so that there are no out-of-pocket costs to the Park District. And then we also allow employees to use our facilities at no charge during non-prime time hours. The Internal Revenue Service has determined that employees who are receiving programs at no charge, that this is being considered additional earned income, and therefore it should be taxed. So we are looking at now taking away benefits that we have been providing employees, and this is something that it's not unique to the Park District of Highland Park. Other agencies are also dealing with this issue, and we've had conversations not only with other agencies, we have had conversations with our auditor, we have had conversations with our legal counsel, and I think one of the things that, you know, in our strategic plan, when we presented it last year, one of the things that we talked to you all about is that we want the Park District to be an employer of choice. We want people to want to come and work here, and we want people to stay here. And obviously, it's nice to be able to have some of these benefits to provide our employees, but we also recognize that we need to be in compliance with regulations that are established by the IRS, because we wouldn't want the IRS to come in, conduct an audit, and we say, gee, we don't have a policy. So we've had to adjust our policy in trying to keep compliance in mind and also trying to keep our employees happy. And I will also say, as you know, that you and your families are allowed to participate in programs or use our facilities, that even for the employees, for them to have a child in a program kind of as another set of eyes, we can all see how things are operating and we can be our own critics, but we need to make some changes to that. So in reviewing how we would be offering program opportunities to our employees, we are recommending that our policy change so that if employees wish to participate, and again, full-time employees wish to participate in district-wide programs or camps and special events for non-contractual programs, that we consider that income, additional earned income, it is shown on their pay, it will be shown on their pay stub, and they will be taxed at the proper tax rate, so that we are complying with that requirement for the IRS. And the other alternative would be to offer a discount to employees, and the kind of magical number that the IRS has batted about is about 20%. So we felt that this was a better opportunity for our employees, and that as you go down the list, you will start to see where we have provided, I think at Sunset Valley, if you're an employee, you might have gotten stuff from the concession stand at cost, maybe cost plus 10%. So now what we're looking at are 20% discounts for food and beverage, 20% discounts for pro shop sales, And then as we look at facilities, which really, it doesn't cost us any more to provide opportunities for the staff, they would still be able to use the facilities at no charge, but we would ask that, and we do ask that of staff now, is that they don't, the whole goal here is to be able to allow them to use our facilities, but to not displace the residents of Highland Park, so that if our employees are using facilities at non-prime time hours, that is something that they continue to do at no cost out of their pockets. And if they choose to participate in classes, it would be at the 20% discount. And then, so the first 2 pages really take you through the new proposed policy for full-time employees. And then when we look to, and we have all kinds of categories of employees, the back page, which starts with full-time 30 to 39-hour employees, if you go to the bottom, which is the seasonal employees, those are our people that come in and just work in the summer, or for, if it's a spring session or a fall session, that we have listed what benefits they would qualify for. And then as you work your way up the ladder, up to the 30 to 39 hours, you receive all of the perks. But there are no free programs that are being issued to any of our part-time employees, and it just depends upon what you're working and where you're working. That determines if you get a couple of free passes to the rec center, as an example, or ski rentals, or passes to Hidden Creek, up to using the rec center at a discounted rate. So because we would like this policy to be included, or actually to begin effective January 1, 2018, we are bringing this to you tonight to gather any feedback from you and come back next week for approval, so that we can talk to our staff about this and have this become effective in January.
That's really too bad.
It is unfortunate.
Do you think it'll have a negative impact on your current employees?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it at the senior leadership level, and really kind of hammered out what we felt was best in looking at discounts versus having employees taxed on it. And I think that no one wants to see anything taken away, but running the calculations that we did, we felt that the program that we're presenting is as fair as it can be, and we hope that a lot of this, well, it's disappointing, a lot of it comes in the messaging. And so we want to try and continue to emphasize the positive and not the negative as we explain this to everyone. But I'm hoping that people will understand, because there are certain things that are happening in today's world that are completely out of our control. The travel expense policy, that too, that's a response to people who have been abusing conferences and travel and all of that. So, unfortunately, the cost of doing business becomes more, I don't know if penal is the right word, but it's more and more restrictions and regulations are being placed on what we do, that I don't want to say it's becoming the norm, but you kind of get used to what's next, which is unfortunate. So we still try and keep, we have an employee committee, bless you, as a part of our strategic plan, and we really do want to try and do positive things for our staff, little things that we can do to try and keep the staff that we do have. And I think that we, I think we try and maintain a good work environment that will keep people wanting to stay here, even if it costs a little more to participate in programs. That's a very long answer to a very short question. I apologize, but it's a tough question to answer.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm. We feel you. Speaking of the messenger.
Yes, open to the public to address the board. I state your name.
I'm Rick Heidemann. I've been an observer of the issue of what's going to happen with the golf course and the clubhouse and the banquet center. And what I really like is I don't really know how much conflict there's been. I know that there's been differences of opinions on what might be the best course of action. But I just want to thank the board for not allowing that to seep into the public conversation. and it's something that you guys have dealt with in closed session, no doubt. And for the city council has done the same, but it hasn't been a public event, if you will, these disagreements. And I appreciate that, and thank you.
Thank you. That really goes to our two liaisons, Brian and Barney, because they've done an amazing job, so that's who deserves the compliments.
Okay, I guess I agree with you twice now.
I was at the workshop meeting for the city council,
Yeah.
and watching Brian's expression was like, I'm gonna be stoic.
I agreed with everything they said.
Yeah.
As far as you know.
Yes, as far as anybody knows, I agree.
He resembles that remark, yeah.
I didn't really sit on my hands. Okay, is there a motion to go into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Open Meeting Act, Section 2C1, 2C6, 2C8, 2C21, and 2C29?
So moved.
Second?
Second.